No, it's not fair. Please don't leave me, I beg you.
Hey Isaac, you ready for the review? Isaac? Isaac? Isaac?
What?
Are you talking to yourself?
Yeah, I'm fine. I was just talking to myself.
Anyway, you trying to get this review started?
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Sweet. I'll get everything set up. Top of the morning to you ladies, and my name is Script in Blue. This is my best friend Isaac Clark, and as you can see from the title, I've just finished beating Dead Space just last week, and I had to make a review on it. Yeah, I was in for an awesome time. It was very spooky. However, there are some cons that me and Isaac would like to discuss as well, but it isn't perfect, but man, is it a worthwhile experience that you should check out. So yeah, for those who don't know, Dead Space is a survival horror game developed by EA Redwood Studios and was released in October of 2008, so a little while ago. And Dead Space is the debut of a trilogy, of which would be released afterwards. So anyway, let's start with the main man himself. Isaac, what is your favorite part of Dead Space?
The bodies. The blood emitting from the corpses as I crush their extremities off with each stomp. Crushing the bodies. 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 Crushing the...
So in the game, there's Hammond, Kendra, and Isaac. Hammond is the chief security officer, Kendra is the backstabbing computer specialist, and Isaac is the systems ship engineer. And as you can tell, he just isn't the same anymore since he's gotten back.
Genealogy and background report complete. Sources verified. Subject Gothia.
Anyway, they accidentally crash land into the Ishimura, with their goal being to respond to a distress signal sent by the Ishimura because their ship needed to be fixed. So yeah, their plan was just to, help all the nice folk there. They actually were all dead. So when Hammond realizes that it's been overrun by necromorphs, he instead moves away from the mission of fixing the Ishimura, and instead just is like, Isaac, fix the shuttle so we can all escape. So for most of the game, your good old buddies Hammond and Kendra will be guiding you to fix technical stuff across different parts of the Ishimura, and you'll use kind of a tram system where it's like a mini train that moves around the huge ship, and they'll just be telling you to fix things across it, since of course you've got the engineering skills. So this means that most communication are either going to be through video cams, or they're inaccessible, either across the tram's railway or behind a thick pane of glass, which means that most of the time you'll just be by yourself, alone, which is totally fine. I mean, who needs to socialize when your whole existence is governed by dreadful monsters constantly trying to hunt you down and kill you in disturbing ways?
Persistence may be labeled as obsession if you indulge.
I mean, for me, I'm terrified of horror games, and what makes it worse is that Isaac doesn't talk, but man, does he scream in pain.
Persistence may be labeled as obsession if you indulge in consistent objective.
Combat is what really makes this game shine, not just in its weapons, but in its enemies as well. So he acquires a total of 7 weapons, and due to Isaac's occupation, these have kind of an engineering theme to them, where before they were used for mechanical construction, now they're being utilized for the dismemberment of necromorphs. And for those who don't know, necromorphs is the species of monsters created by the Marker, which is some sort of an ancient artifact that makes people go mad and turn into those things. We'll talk more about the different types later on. Oh, and five of those weapons have an alternative mode of firing. So for example, a force gun, which is kind of like a shotgun, its alternative mode of firing shoots out projectile mines, which is pretty cool. And throughout the game, you'll find these things called power nodes that are littered across the map, and you can use them to upgrade different stats of either your spacesuit or weapons. So the uses of the different weapons will really depend on which enemy you're fighting. The game highly emphasizes dismemberment in its combat system, as most of its enemies can be seared off of limbs and extremities. For the standard necromorphs, they're called slashers. They're these things that kind of like have knife hands tilted downwards so that when they jump they can just whoosh. You want to steer their legs off first so that when they're charging at you they just eat the ground immediately, and then you can just go for their head right after. For the lurkers, there are these really weird things, like little, I don't know, but basically they have tentacles that erupt from their backs, and their tentacles can shoot projectiles at you. Yeah, for those, you just want to shoot their tentacles off, and then either proceed to shoot their face or curb stomp them. And for the oh so terrifying pregnant necromorphs, I know it's a weird name. They're like standard slashers, except they have a really big belly, and if you kill them, then their bellies will burst and just erupt various small little monsters. Oh, they're so gross. Yeah, for those little creatures, you're going to want something with crowd control, such as the force gun or the flamethrower or the projectile mine. Those things are annoying and terrifying. And the game constantly has you changing your tactics as the difficulty curve spikes as the game progresses, especially near the end. Some examples I can think of is you'll find these slashers with leg armor, which means that you can't go for the legs, only for the arms and then the head, which means they can still charge at you. Another one is the slashers who have super speed because they've like manipulated a stasis unit on them or something. Those are really annoying. And there's these things called black necromorphs, which is basically the standard necromorph class, but with a darker complexion, and they have increased health and damage output. So at the start of the game, it's basically just you and your plasma gun, and the introductory like 8 slashers on hard mode are brutally difficult, especially with low ammo. The game does balance it though by giving Isaac 2 unique accessories, one of which is a telekinesis unit where he can use to grab things across the map and shoot it at necromorphs. And across the map there's explosive canisters that have really good damage and crowd control. Another thing he has is a stasis unit where he can shoot a projectile towards a group of enemies, and in that radius all necromorphs will be very, very slow. They'll be moving in slow motion, which means that Isaac can either shoot their legs or head as many times as he wants, or maybe just skipping the level altogether, especially when you go on missions and you finish the thing and then your next mission is to go all the way back. There's not like an elevator you can just boop. Anyway, as Isaac progresses through the game and acquires more weapons and purchases armor upgrades, you'll be a beast by the end. In comparison to the intro, where it was very, very difficult fighting just a small group of enemies of slashers, in the end you'll be taking dozens after dozens of these black necromorphs of all types, switching from weapon to weapon that specialize in destroying that certain necromorph. By the end of these fights I was like, I just did that. Wait, I just did that. Wait, how did I do that? So a lot of the tracks in the Dead Space soundtrack went like... And that makes up like 90% of the soundtrack. It could have been a little more varied. None of the tracks really spoke out to me. It did jack my heart rate up as I was fighting necromorphs and just hearing all that sound in the background. There were like 2 or 3 unique ones, especially the ending one, which sounded uplifting in contrast to the majority of the soundtrack, since it gave me relief that I finally finished escaping. Of course, only to be jump scared by Nicole. But yeah, I felt like it could have been more creative. What was really eerie though was the sound design of those pesky necromorphs. I read this article talking about it, and it basically said that the way they engineered the sounds of the necromorphs was by having a sound recording of an animal, such as like a hostile dog growling, and then you mix it with other 5 different hostile animals and make it into one sound file and then distort the crap out of it. And that was the sound design for the necromorphs. Also, the stupid PA whispers almost made me go insane. It was a nice addition, really, giving us into why Isaac is the way he is today.
Voice analysis of the audio log detects various indicators of possible communication.
Now, with all that being said, the game is imperfect in just a couple of ways. Remember when I said that Isaac doesn't speak in the game? You can be all like, well, it's just a silent protagonist adds to the atmosphere. No, sometimes it's just awkward seeing Isaac just stare into the abyss without saying anything. Even when it's very, very critical or impactful to him, he's just like... Come on! Let me out! Or like that one scene where Isaac finally finishes fixing the escape shuttle. He's ready to go, and then all of a sudden he gets betrayed by Kendra, and he makes no gestural motion or states anything that expresses any sort of anger or sadness. He's just kind of like...
Over here! Hurry! There's no time to waste. We must do it. Where are you going?
Sorry, Isaac. I couldn't let him go through with it. I suppose I should thank you for finding the marker. We even managed without help from the USM Valor. Thank you for helping me find him, by the way.
Another thing is that I feel like the ammo types were really geared toward the beam rifle. Maybe this was just a me thing, but I feel like the beam rifle was very underpowered. I didn't upgrade it, which could have contributed to it a lot. But also, even its base damage was really low, and it wasn't accurate, and it consumed a bunch of ammo. And so my favorite gun was the plasma cutter. It had a decent amount of damage, especially when I upgraded it. It was very accurate, and I could conserve its ammo by placing good shots. But the second I purchased the plasma rifle, I got bombarded by nothing but beam rifle ammo, which was so annoying for like 3 chapters, I would break open boxes, hoping for plasma cutter rounds, since I would always be low on it. But I had a surplus amount of beam rifle ammo. Eventually, I sold it, and that did fix the issue. The ammo pools being generated from the boxes were equal and balanced. But I wish a solution could have been added, where maybe a preference option could be given to what weapon Isaac prefers, so that more of that specific ammo could be acquired. So it's going to get a little controversial with this one, but I feel like Isaac was just not the smartest cookie in the box for being very emotionally persuaded by his lady, Nicole, even though she was dead. Now, the game revealed this whole time that Isaac's girlfriend was dead, and really, Isaac should have known.
It's a shame. I was starting to like you. Even if you are insane. What, you don't believe me? Take a look at yourself. Better yet, take a look at the video from Nicole. And this time, watch it right to the end. I always loved you. See? You're insane. Just like Kai, just like the captain. Nicole has been dead this whole time. Whatever you were seeing was caused by that.
Because Nicole, when she was in the Ishimura, she got raided by necromorphs, and she euthanized herself on video and sent it to Isaac, and Isaac watched the video but never watched the end of it. So he just kept on repeating the video where she's like, I love you, you're the best, but never bothered to finish the video. If he did, then he would know that, well, Nicole was dead. Another thing is that as Isaac was maneuvering through the Ishimura, he would get hints either through audio logs or from Kendra.
Science Log Chief Science Officer Dr. Kine reporting. The colony's problems concern me greatly. I have no doubt they are somehow linked to the discovery of the marker. Almost 40% of the colonists are experiencing a form of dementia. The obvious symptoms are acute depression, insomnia, and hallucination.
Launched. Beacon's on its way. All functions normal and broadcasting wideband. Now we just have to hope somebody's listening. I thought I saw my brother again. He waved to me like nothing was wrong.
Make us whole again.
Isaac, make us whole again.
You need to get it back now, Isaac. You can pilot the shuttle remotely from here. Make us whole again. Make us whole again.
The marker needs to be returned to the pedestal chamber. Use the loader to bring it there and place it on the pedestal. Replace what was taken and make us whole again.
Thank you, Isaac. I always believed in you. I knew you'd return to me. We are whole again, Isaac. We are whole.
See? You're insane.
It really isn't a big deal, but Isaac should have been more logical instead of being very easily emotionally influenced. That's just a me thing, but I mean, he must have known that the marker is making everybody see hallucinations and can see how it manipulates things for its purpose. He just never made that link, which was annoying and a little bit upsetting.
Shut up, you stupid person. You don't know what you're talking about. Have you ever even had a girlfriend? Or do I have to tell the world you've been dating Serena from Skyrim for the past 8 years? You don't know what it's like to love someone or be willing to sacrifice yourself for them, to the point where nothing else matters. Stop yapping and let's throw hands. I'm tired of this crap. I will beat you to a pulp and stomp on your corpse.
Now the game has a total of 5 boss fights, and they're all great except for the final boss. My biggest issue is that it just wasn't satisfying enough. Basically a couple of monster tentacles pop up and you gotta shoot them as they erupt, and you also have to balance between shooting and moving around from one side of the level to the other because the tentacles come down and smash the ground. So you got to be shooting, you shoot the tentacle, you move to the side, you shoot the tentacle, you move to the other side. The second stage, however, it's basically that, but the monster erupts even more, and it shows like it's something in its chest of more of those yellow pods, which you also have to shoot. You just repeat that cycle again until it drops dead and collapses. I mean, it was really anticlimactic in my opinion. I mean, this is in comparison to the previous boss fight where you literally utilize an anti-meteorite weapon to destroy a monster that's even larger than the final boss fight.
Manual override initiated.
I will say this though, I think it did redeem itself to some degree by whenever Isaac jumped into the shuttle to escape after deactivating the gravity stabilizers, holding up the huge rock, which is now headed towards the moon planet thing, whatever. And so as Isaac escapes, he can just see the rock heading towards the moon and destroying everything in it. That was pretty satisfying. Other than that, I thought the gameplay was solid, and even on hard mode, I felt like I had just enough resources to survive in the first half, and plenty of resources on the next half to try out the different weapons and have fun with the different combinations outside of the base plasma cutter. The game did a good job of keeping the story simple enough for new users to really grasp the story, and the missions were well explained and simple enough for the users to understand, but believable enough of which something of an engineer would be doing. I really like the pacing where initially booting up the game, feeling like, a timid engineer terrified at the sight of a basic slasher, to then progressing and feeling like, what do the kids say these days, an original gangster near the end, causing so much devastation, taking on hordes and hordes of the enemies, and switching from different weapons. It was an awesome feeling. So my final scoring for the end is an 8 out of 10. All in all, Dead Space is a solid survival horror action game, packed with a good combat system, enemy design, character dialogue, and an oh so spooky atmosphere. However, the upsetting boss battle, the repetitive soundtrack, the restrictive ammo pools, forcing me to use a weapon I didn't want to, and since combat is central to the game, I was annoyed for like 3 chapters. And finally, Isaac having no expression when being betrayed or being begged by someone to save their life by opening a simple door, or Isaac just not watching the full video, or maybe being too irrational when it comes to a love interest. I mean, yes, these are things I genuinely disliked, but I feel like what I did like greatly outweighed the gripes I had with the game. And at the end of the day, I can say what I want, but I had lots of fun hanging out with Isaac and escaping alive. And so that's why I gave this game an 8 out of 10. Anyway, Isaac, you got something you would like to say?
You were correct this whole time, Scripton. I'm sorry. I just couldn't accept the fact that Nicole was deceased and willingly allowed myself to believe the lie that she wasn't. To ignore the hatred I had for myself, I unfairly pinned it onto you instead. For that, I would like to apologize. We are a team and I'll never betray you. Together forever.
I support that message 100%. Alright guys, that does it for this video. It was really cool working with Isaac on this review. But yeah, if you guys want to see more of this content, in case you didn't know, this is now a review channel, so smash if you like review stuff. Alright, I'll see you guys later.